Hey guys, it's Courtney Barnum, Rett University coach here with another free lesson from Rett U. Today we're going to be talking about the 80-20 rule. So many of you may have heard of the 80-20 rule, or you may not have. What we're going to be working on today and what our focus is today is making sure you guys understand and know what the 80-20 rule is and how do we use the 80-20 rule when it comes to communication and modeling. So the 80-20 rule was actually called the Pareto Principle, which means that 20% of the input, your time, your resources, and your effort, accounts for about 80% of your output, your results, and your rewards. It actually was devised over 100 years ago by Pareto, and in recent years, though, it has been applied to a variety of different subjects, including personal development, business. I know when I was teaching in schools, we started talking a little bit about the 80-20 rule in terms of learning. So what we want to know now is how do we apply this to our language learning? So when you think about language, 50% of our conversation in English is actually made up of about 100 basic words. So you have those 100 basic words that, if you think about it, are in constant use when we're conversating with our friends, with our peers, with our other academics, professionals. Those are those words that you're going to hear over and over again. And when you think about conversation in itself, about 80% of the conversation really only uses about 3,000 words. There are thousands of millions of words out there, but we really focus on about 3,000 words. So what does this mean? Well, for our kiddos with AAC, if you know the 3,000 most commonly used words, you should be able to understand about 80% of the conversation, which is a lot. And it really, when you think about our students, especially with AAC, they're understanding a lot of what's going on around them. But now we have to show them and model that those 3,000 most commonly used words, those core words, so that they can conversate back with us. So what we're talking about is 80% core and 20% fringe vocabulary. Our core words are words that make up most of speech. Words like go, stop, help, have, want, like. Those words can be used in a variety of different situations and contexts. You can go to the store. Will you go over there? Go see the elephant. Did you want that to go? I mean, there's so many different ways in just one sentence. In one way, I used it in 5 different ways. Same thing with want. Do you want some water? I want to go to the store. Want to play a game? Like. I like the fruit. Would you like a piece of candy? I did not like that story. So different contexts, multiple meanings, multiple uses in one word. So those are those core words. Again, those are those words that you see and you hear on a constant basis. When you think about our AAC communication software, our Snap Core, most of the front page is those common words. Grid 3, same thing, front page. On Sonoflex, it is actually the first couple of rows, and then you can also go down to your little words. And then on your PRC and Power Accent, it's most of the front page. So those are those core words. They're very important, but want to say we do not want to just focus on the core words, because let's think about it. Take a second. Think about your conversations. Do we just go around talking in go, stop, help, have, want, like? No, they're a big part of our conversation. They are interspersed throughout our conversation, but they're not the only thing we say. So that's where that 20% of fringe vocabulary comes in. That's those extra words that make the conversation a little bit more fun, that go along with a context or go along with a situation. So want to make sure that we're including about 80% of our core and 20% of our fringe when we're working with our students with AAC. So what you're going to see in this next video is actually myself and one of my young ladies that I am working with. I've worked with previously in person, but also am working with remotely right now during COVID. And her and I have a little understanding. We get sassy with each other. It's our thing. We have a lot of fun. But we are reading a book that she chose, and I'm doing some modeling. And we wanted to get some of that, core words in, but we also had some of the fringe words coming in. And we're a little bit farther into the book, and she's making some comments and some predictions that are great for the story. So she's not just, she's communicating back her predictions. The other thing I'd like you to watch is towards the end of the video, I am speaking to her. We're talking about something that happened in the story, and I say that it's very embarrassing. And I give her kind of a second to, see if she has anything else to say or respond or comment about the story. And then I start to read. And that's when she's able to make the comment. Her apraxia, when I was watching her straight on and kind of waiting for her apraxia was too much. Once I moved on, she was able to get her body together and make the comment that she wanted to make, and I immediately acknowledged that. So I wanted to put that in there because that's really important, because it does happen with our students, with our kids, with our adults, with our teenagers, with complex needs on a fairly regular basis. They, that pressure's there, you're watching them, they can't get their body to go where they want, you move away and you take your attention off, and that's when they're able to say it. That'll be the time when maybe I'm talking to the parent really quickly to give the child a chance to say something because that attention's not on them. So always make sure as you're modeling and you're reading and you're working with with kiddos with complex needs and your child, to think about that and give them an opportunity. And if they do say something after you've moved on, or you're talking to your husband or your sibling or somebody else in the, within the group, then make sure that you are acknowledging what they said. So instead of breathing fire, he breathed whipped cream. That would kind of hurt if he blew rice cakes out his nose. Just saying. That would probably hurt too.
Yeah, not so much.
All right. I want to see what else you think he's going to blow out his nose.
What else is he going to do? What else can he do? That could be kind of fun. We almost did after lunch.
Animal biscuits.
Animal crackers.
Cheese and biscuits.
Cheese and biscuits.
And biscuits.
Cheese and biscuits. Oh. I don't know. That might really hurt. It could be a little bit.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing for Crispin.
Oh my goodness.
Whipped cream came out. Crispin,
I'm
shouted his
disappointed.
father. You're disappointed. I'm sorry that you're disappointed. Is it my reading or is it the book?
It's the book.
It's the book. You're disappointed in Crispin that he did not blow out fire? Sounds like his dad is too, you're right. Dragons breathe fire. What will the neighbors think? Worried his mother. I love whipped cream, said his little sister Ashley. The little dragon was whisked off to the doctor that very next day. Please fix my son, demanded Crispin's father. Yeah, you're right. Where? They went to the doctor. You're right. I saw you going for go. Where did they go? They went to the doctor. Let's go to places. Community places, I think it would be. And they went to the... Hold on, let me go back there.
Hospital?
That's us. There you go. So as you can see, at one point when we're talking about what he's going to have coming out of his nose. He was a fire-breathing dragon that didn't breathe fire. She actually leans closer to where the camera is, where she can see me and the book to kind of look, and then she comes over to her device and gives some possible predictions. And it was just fun, but it was also gave her a chance to participate and make comments about the story. And then on top of it, like I said, I loved when she turned around and said how disappointed that because her apraxia came off, she was able to make that comment, and we were able to bring it more into the book. And it was perfect because it was talking about when Crispin's dad was very upset with him. So when we're talking about that, again, we talk about that 80% core and 20% fringe vocabulary. Our fringe words, like I said, those are those nouns. They're other words that are maybe not going to be used as frequently in our everyday conversation, but they are going to be used. It really depends on the context, the event, or the situation. For example, if you're going shopping, that might be when those words blue and shirt are going to be a little bit more important because we're looking for a blue shirt. But if we're out in the garden, a shirt and blue probably aren't going to be a big word that needs to be modeled at a constant basis, but flower will be. Or if you're, if you're going to a birthday party or you're celebrating something, that word cake is going to be a lot more important and one that we want to model. Whereas if we were talking about a volcano, we're not going to use those words cake, flower, or shirt. So it's really going to depend on those context, events, or situations. Not every word is going to be on the device, so we want to make sure that during this time, this is when you're thinking about, especially in terms of academics, those words might not be on the device, and you have those context words and that fringe vocabulary available on index cards, so that they can quickly identify what they're talking about and use partner-assisted scan to recognize those words. So what you're going to notice in this next video is a new user. First time I'm doing a remote with her, and this was literally the first time that she's had her AAC for a little bit, but this was the first time she was being exposed to the Snap Core Rett U pages. So the 7x7 layout, brand new, very can be, brand new. So you're going to see a little bit different, but she's again, brand new user. And what I wanted to show you, there's a couple things I want you to watch in this, is being a new user, the modeling. I'm modeling words over and over again. And then you'll finally see towards the end that she comes back. But don't give up when you're working with your child and you're modeling, and if they're not responding right away, because especially for a new user, they're learning their language, and we have to give them some time to hear the words, see where they're at, things like that. So please, be aware of it. It's not going to just, you have some kids that do, right away, but you also have those kiddos that take a little bit to kind of go, okay, I want to check these things out. The other thing I want you to notice is the reciprocity. Was when she, there's a couple times where she's looking at her mom like, did you see that, Mom? Oh my gosh. We want to, those are those interactions that we want to expand and then turn into comments. And it's a great time to model and be like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. Or, make comments back so that she sees that, you modeling the device. Ready to read about the
Underwear.
underwear? Alien loving underwear? I know. That's pretty
Silly.
silly. I see you. I see it. Who's wearing the underwear? I saw you go to who's wearing the underwear? The aliens are wearing crazy. Just, I know. That's just my favorite word on here, and I will never change this word. That's just bonkers. That's just bonkers. All right, Miss Emma Grace, I'm going to go back to our reading page. I think
Something is going to happen.
something is going to happen, and I think we should turn
Turn
the
page.
page and find out what's going to happen. Okay? Look at all those crazy underpants. Look at all those crazy underpants.
You see?
I see striped underpants, and I see flowered underpants. I know. I know. So
Silly.
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 I'm watching your eyes a second because I see you pouring. You should
Turn page.
turn the page. Aliens love underpants. Every shape and size. But there are no underpants in space. So here's a big surprise. I know, they do not have. They do not, I know, they do not have
Underwear.
underwear in space. No underwear in space. That's just
Awful.
awful. Yeah, I saw you go into pronouns. Are you trying to say they are, those aliens are
Bad.
sad? You can, yeah, I said it for you. I helped you. Yes.
You.
Yes, I said it for you. Because I saw where your eyes go. You're quick with your eyes. I'm gonna call you Quickie McGee. Quickie McGee. I know. So as you can see, she is just learning, but her eyes, as we are modeling, is coming back to the language. Her eyes were watching where I was going with my pointers. So she was getting to see those things, where the words are on her device. And she's going to start, hopefully you're going to see as we move on, she does end up commenting, and it's really great because she is learning where her language is. And that's the most important part of core and fringe vocabularies. We want them to learn where their language is so that they can participate in conversations and have communication. So what does this mean when we're modeling and we're teaching? Those core words and those fringe words are important when we're modeling and teaching. When it comes to our reading, we want to look at what core words you can use and model repeatedly throughout the book. Also, make sure you pick out some of those fringe words that will make the book more meaningful and assist with comprehension. I go through before as I'm looking for a book, or if I'm thinking about a book to read with students, or via remote or things like that, I'll go through and I'll kind of create a list of those important core words that I want to use and model repeatedly through the book and find out where they are. But then I'll also pick out some of those fun fringe words that make the book more meaningful and that I want to model so that my person I'm working with can model those, see where those words are so that we can start having conversations about it, or they can make comments about it. Like I said, not all of our words are going to be, and I actually go down a little bit farther and say it, all of our words are not going to be on the device, so you might want to have those index cards ready to go, or a whiteboard. When we're teaching, focus on those core words that will help make the conversation about the topic more meaningful. Remember, we're not using our AAC devices to only question the students, question our loved ones that are using their device. We want to make sure that we're creating conversations and giving them the opportunity and the words to create conversations about the topic so that it is more meaningful to them. Those fringe words should be the ones that give the opportunity to comment on what is being learned. Again, we want them to comment on the mummies that they're learning about in Egypt. If we're talking about high school, a high school kiddo or an adult, we want them to comment about the mummies in Egypt. But not all those words are going to be on their device, but we want them to comment on what they're learning about using a variety of different methods, both high and soft tech. Like I said, not all words are going to be on the device. We don't want every word on the device. We want those important words, those core words. We want those important vocabulary words that help us with everyday conversation. So when it comes to our academic words or our specific context words for activities, we want to think about other words to use to describe the concept, because what it is really about is not about just being able to say the word. You can say a word, that's great, but we want them to understand the concept of the word, not just say the word. So for example, thinking about the word volcano, it might not be on your device. So what are some other words that you can think of to describe the volcano to our student if you were teaching that science lesson? Well, it's a mountain, it's open, it's hot, lava might not be on there, but hot liquid comes out of the mountain. So those are all words that are on the device. So we're not going to go through and make a whole page of words just go with volcano, because that's not going to be useful for other times on the device. But we can have those words we know where those words that do describe the concept of volcano and are important to that on the device, where we know where they are. I know where open is, I know where mountain is, I know where hot is, I know where liquid is, so that we can describe the volcano, get them to help them understand the concept of the word, and then they have the words, and then use index cards, whiteboard, different items, soft tech to help them talk about what they've learned. So some different ideas. Find books that have similar core and fringe vocabulary, and then read those books, read the different books, but have that repeated practice while reading. So if they've got similar core and fringe vocabulary and you do different books of kind of the same genre or things like that, it's a repeated practice of seeing those core and fringe vocabulary words, but not the same book over and over again. Yes, we can read books, but we want to make sure we're not reading the same book over and over again. So I know that there are probably about, at least, if I remember correctly, when I was teaching, I know there was at least 5 different versions of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, whether it was Goldilocks, the one with the polar bears, there was the one with the Goldilocks and the 3 dinosaurs. So there's a lot of different versions. So look for those. They're probably going to have a lot of the similar core words. So you can read those different stories. All have somewhat of the same fringe vocabulary, somewhat similar core. They're getting those repeated exposures to those core and fringe vocabulary. They're able to make comments, and it's not boring them with the same book over and over again. Also want to make sure that we look at the communication functions of the core words. For example, we have different, there's different communication functions. We have, expression, we have requesting, we have, all these different negating things, all these different communication functions, which requesting, important. Yes, not going to say it is not important. We want them to request, especially their wants and needs, so that they can get what their needs and their wants met. But we don't walk around just doing wants and needs. We don't want the devices to become very expensive choice boards. We want them to have all their ability to use communication functions in a variety of different ways. We want them to be able to negate things. I do not want that. I don't like that. I mean, you know, you want to be able to say things. I am a firm believer, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face. Our kiddos should have the opportunity to give an opinion, because let's be honest. What is the first thing you do in the morning when your alarm goes off? You do not, most of us, I will preface that with, most of us do not jump out of bed and go, yay, I get to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and that alarm went off and I'm so happy. 9 times out of 10, you're going, oh my God, I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work today. I just don't want to do anything. Oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. You're giving an opinion. You're still going to do it, but you gave your opinion on it. So think about those core words that go with giving an opinion. Like, that, I don't, good, bad, like it. That is such an important part of communication. I had a student, it was probably my 5th year of teaching. He had autism, he was nonverbal, and he used screaming as his form of communication. And called mom, we put some things into, called his parents, put some things into place. But one of the first things I did is he had a old AAC device, touch Minimo, that we put an opinion page on there. I don't want to. I don't like this. This stinks. I can't even remember the couple other ones on there. And I modeled using those words. And then I gave him the option to use those words. It would come time for him to do his work. And I'd say, it's time for work. And he would scream at me. And I'd go, oh, you're telling me I don't want to do that. This is bad. I don't like that. And he would perk up like, hey, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, I know. And then I would say, I didn't want to get up at 5 o'clock this morning and come, to school and listen to you scream all day. But here we are. I don't like that. So it became a way for him to express his opinion without screaming at me. And I will say, I am still in touch with that young man. He is in his early 20s now, and he is doing amazing, and he doesn't scream anymore. And he's able to talk, and he's a great young man. So those communication functions are so incredibly important. Yes, again, folks, do the want, but look at those other communication functions, look at the core words that get there, that go with them, and find ways to model those, because those communication functions are so incredibly important. We want to make sure that we pick activities that are core word based. So think about it. Cooking, make, get more, put in, not, like this, need, help, make, more. Those are all core words that you can use with cooking that, do we want to make cookies or do we want to make a cake? Oh, we need to put in the chocolate chips. You need to pour them like this. I need some help. Ooh, can we make more cookies? I do not want to make any more cookies. I want to put the cookies in the oven. But, there are so many different ways that you can use those core words, and you're modeling them while you're cooking. Same thing with music. Turn on the music, turn off the music. What's next? Want more? I do not like that. Good or bad? On my Toby, I have a music player, and I have Taylor Swift on there, and I'm not going to lie, I am not a huge fan of Taylor Swift. She's not one of my favorites. And I tell my girls that right from the beginning, especially if I'm going to put the music player on them for them, because I want to see what they're going to do. 9 times out of 10, my girls go straight for the Taylor Swift thing. I think just to see what my reaction is. And I make a big deal. Oh my gosh, you made me listen to Taylor Swift. But then I also model those words. Oh, I do not like it. Please turn it off. What? Do not want any more of that. Oh, it's so bad. And it's a great way to get them involved, but also modeling those core words. So, if you have any questions or would like some more information about the 80-20 rule or how to help, if you need some help and support in doing that, please email us, Courtney@gp2c.org. We will be happy to help you. If you need to set up a remote with us, whatever, You know, we are here to support and help. By the way, if there's something you would like to see, whether it be in a free lesson, a book club, or a how-to, let us know. We're going to be doing these, you know, to help support you guys, especially during this time when everybody's at home. I hope you guys enjoyed our 80-20 rule, and we hope you enjoyed this free lesson. Have a great day.